Hey everyone, welcome back to the Ceres podcast. In today's episode, host Kelly Barnes is joined by Lorraine Arnold. Lorraine is the dynamic owner of Pier Point Restaurant and Bar in Torquay, a thriving seafront venue known for its high standards, community spirit and award-winning fish and chips. In this candid conversation with Kelly, Lorraine shares her remarkable journey from the world of acting to running one of Devon's most talked about hospitality businesses, offering listeners an honest look at resilience, reinvention and what it takes to build a successful fish and chip shop from the ground up, with lots of adversity built in. I must admit, I enjoyed listening to this episode and now fancy getting Lorraine on again to ask even more questions. Maybe Kelly can get her on again for a group discussion. Now, let's talk about what truly defines Ceres, our natural batter mix. From day one, it's been the foundation of who we are, crafted with not one, but two British flowers from Essex and a unique blend of raisin agents to deliver the perfect balance of crispness and texture. Because the fact is, nobody wants a batter that's hard and crunchy, and we've refined ours to be light, crispy, and consistently perfect with no soggy bottom. Whether you run a takeaway, restaurant, delivery service, the Ceres natural batter mix adapts to any operation without artificial flavours, without artificial colours or any nasty preservatives. It's proudly made and milled in the UK using 100% British wheat from Essex. It supports local farmers and it aligns with our commitment to sustainability. Are you ready to take your battered fish to the next level? If not, what are you waiting for? Get free next day delivery at www.ceres.shop or order from your favourite wholesaler. At Ceres, we know that understanding your numbers is the key to success. That's why we have built a powerful suite of business calculators to help you break down your costs, track margins and maximise profits, because if you don't know your numbers, you're flying blind. These tools give you clarity and they can help you make more informed and smarter business decisions. So take control of your business today. Visit www.ceres.shop and start running the numbers. And if you want to stay ahead of the game and get exclusive industry insights, early access to special offers, only access to competitions, then you really must be on our mailing list and our WhatsApp notification group. The links will be in the episode show notes. Now, let's dive into Lorraine's journey with our host, Kelly Barnes. I hope you enjoy this episode.
Hi guys, I'm joined today by Lorraine Arnold from Pier Point Fish and Chips. Hi Lorraine, how are you?
Hi Cal, yeah, really good, thank you.
Good. I think we've known each other quite a few years now, so I'm going to delve right in and get to know about you and who you are, because I'm intrigued. I know there's a little Corrie story in there as well. We've got so much to unpack today.
There's a lot. I've always got something to say, you know that.
Oh, absolutely, which is why we get on so well. So Lorraine, obviously, like I just touched on the fact that Coronation Street's part of your history, which I know Northerners like fish and chips, but they're not quite linked in the same way, are they?
Not quite.
So how did you get into this? What's your background? How did you get into this? And who is Lorraine Arnold?
Well, look, this fish and chips was a very happy accident, I've got to tell you. Certainly not my background. There's no generations of fish and chips in my family at all, apart from eating them, as I've said many times. But, you know, I mean, I trained as an actress. I did, as you've just mentioned, I did a Corrie, I did EastEnders, I did Edinburgh Fringe, I did the West End a few times. I won't go into all that, that's not what we're here for. But I did all that. I lived in Greece for a few years, back and forth, predominantly living in London, but going back and forth to Greece as well, running various different businesses. And then I find myself back in the UK around about 2016, and very kindly, in need, I was skint, and totally skint. My friend very kindly helped me out by he owned the pier at Paynton, and I ran the back of the pier. And then, cutting a long story short, the front of the pier, which was a cafe at the time, he said, "Do you want to take that over?" And I said, "Well, yeah, but only as a fish and chip shop." He said, "What do you know about fish and chips?" I said, "I don't know anything, but I'll learn. I'm a quick learner." I said, "But it's madness. We're on this seafront in Paynton and there's no fish and chips. Wow. It don't make any sense to me." So I said, "I'm going to turn it into a fish and chip shop." He said, "Well, if you know what you're doing." And I thought I'll learn.
Famous last words they are, aren't they?
Famous last words. How difficult can it be? Anyway, but what I was very, very lucky in that Tom Chippy, we call him, from KFE, who sold us the range. You know, he talked us all through everything, and he was instrumental in an awful lot of things. He was instrumental in, obviously, I call it Chippy School.
Yeah.
Because you get your Chippy School places and whatever. So I thought, well, that's good. Then he said, you need to get to know some good operators, go up and speak to them and everything. I went up to Mr. Hanbury.
Yes.
And he was lovely, very good, very kind man. Giving me all sorts of bits of advice. Be consistent, don't compromise on your quality, all these little buzzwords. When I went to Chippy School, we muddled through for a few weeks before I got to go to Chippy School. I did operate, but I was lucky enough to have Craig from Plimpton, who sadly they're no longer in the business, but he was great, and he was saying, "Lorraine, you should join the NFFF. You should, and all this advice." And I was like, "Oh, fantastic!" So I did do that, and then when I went up to Chippy School, they said you should do the Q Award, and I'm very, very grateful for that, because that introduced me to Tim, which in turn introduced me to you.
Yes, absolutely.
So I got the Q Award, and then Tim said you should. Put in for the awards, a newcomer. You've got a good chance. You're operating well. And I said, "No way! I'm a little newbie. I'm a new kid on the block." And I still feel of myself like that. I got to tell you, because I still feel like I know nothing.
It's hard, isn't it? I think when you first come into this industry, I think, especially being down south, I don't know about you, but I don't think it's as much anymore, but for a long time for us, and I think you probably felt the same way, you feel like you're quite far away from everything.
Yeah, 100%. I just think I put on, and thank God for people like yourself and Tim, for Tom and Jason, etc., and Craig, and the NFFF, of course, giving me all this advice. I was like a sponge. I sent all my team up to the Chippy School. I went up there. I mean, I've been up there about 4 or 5 times, and little refreshers. And we've had in-store training, everything I could to try and be a sponge and learn from the best. Because everything we want to do is the best. Certainly, I do. And I think that's really, really important. I think it's very important. And I have never known an industry like it. And I've said this many times, and I'm still going to say it again. I've never known an industry like it. It's an absolutely fantastic industry. It is so supportive. Everyone is really supportive of each other. There are other industries I've been in that people would rather poke your own eyes out than give you a bit of advice and help you along the way.
So when you took on
total opposite.
When you took on Paynton Pier, I hope you don't mind me saying it wasn't a smooth sailing right at the start, was it? You had it was a bit of a
Kel, don't even, because Listen, it was my little baby, all bells and whistles, singing and dancing. The day that the range arrived, by the way, I cried.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I went and had fish and chips.
I
It was
cried.
stunning.
I was like, oh my God, this is the start of this wonderful journey for me. After everything I'd been through in Greece and coming back here and being skint as you like. And here I was with this amazing, wonderful, I mean, in debt up to my eyeballs, but I did have faith that I'd be able to pay it back.
So Lorraine, obviously you took on Peyton and Pier in 2018, and obviously, like you said, you ran for the first few weeks, but it wasn't all plain sailing, was it? It was quite hard, wasn't it, right at the start?
Absolutely, very, very difficult. In fact, as I say, we were just floundering until we went up to Chibisco, etc., etc. But the worst thing was it was all bells and whistles and lovely shiny new range because we converted the whole thing. And as I said, I cried when the range arrived. It was just a wonderful moment for me after everything I'd been through. A debt up to my eyeballs, but I had confidence that this was going to work, this fish and chip thing. Anyway, but unfortunately, we were getting ready for the half term, and the big air show. This was going to be what we'd been taught, but we'd been told that the air show, it's the best, it's going to be the biggest, most profitable weekend of the year, better than all bank holidays, all the rest of it. So I couldn't wait. And literally, in May, the beginning, when we were waiting for the half term, so mid-May, towards the end, we'd been going now, February, March, about 5 months. Knock on my door, Lorraine, there's a fire. Oh, wow. I couldn't believe it. We ran down there, everything gutted. Water everywhere.
I bet you it's just awful, isn't it? That feeling.
I was in shock. I was just in total shock, I've got to tell you. But I was grateful no one was in there. It was the middle of the night. I was grateful that I didn't burn Emery's Pier down as well. Because can you imagine? I ran off. No, I would have just ran off. I would have just ran off. I would have had to run off.
Next train back to the Midlands.
Can you imagine? I can't think. Anyway, so I'm very grateful for that. But obviously that was a big lesson, and that was the batter bits, which I didn't know could spontaneously combust.
Yeah.
And I looked on the cameras as me guy didn't take them out to the bin. He left them in the shop. Also, I didn't have a metal bin at the time. So of course I watched as the camera went blank, and that was the I saw the smoke, and then the camera, and then that was that. Now the plus side to that, I mean, I remember Leslie rang me from the NFFF Lovely Graves. She was amazing, and the thing that stuck in my head was, because I was hysterical,
Yeah.
Even a couple of days later, I still couldn't stop sobbing, and she said, Lorraine, remember this, it's just fish and chips.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that's it, yeah. Although it's not just fish and chips, as we all know. But it was the words as just when I thought, yeah, nobody's died. It's not life and death. It's, and do you know what? For about 2 days, while we waited, because we couldn't get in there, the insurance men had to come and blah, blah, blah. But from the Monday, it took us, and it was gutted. The only thing salvaged was the range.
Wow.
Everything else had to be replaced. And the smell of everything. So all the fridges, everything. But we were open on Saturday morning.
You invested, we're talking what, $250,000 to start up a shop in the first place. It's a lot of money, isn't it, to kind of get it to that standard that you had it at? Because it was big. It was beautiful.
Hell of a lot of money. Do you know how much we got back from the insurance?
No.
50 grand.
Oh my God. That's nothing.
Anyway.
It's madness, isn't it? That
it is madness. It's absolute madness, because
yeah.
Human error. Well, what the hell's insurance for?
Yeah.
What's What's insurance for?
If nothing but human error.
Human error. So, but I'm so proud of all the people. We had people come in from all over the country, you know, joiners, electricians, and they got us worked through the night, through the clock, and got us open for Saturday morning for the air show.
That's fantastic.
Couldn't believe it. It's just amazing. And that really cemented for me the people that you've got around you, how important it is, and all the rest of it. And I've nurtured and carried that through to Pier Point, because the team is just everything. Because I was saying to you earlier, your team is everything, and especially with a large venue like we have, you know, we've got 240 covers inside. I say inside in the restaurant because it's outside, courtyard, and inside.
So you took on, Pier Point in 3 weeks before COVID?
Oh yeah, 3 weeks before lockdown. Yeah, that was
as you do. You know, I've had a fire and then turn that into a success. So why not 2 years later I've thrown myself into something else? So how did that come about?
Nobody knew. Nobody knew what was coming, did we? With hindsight, we'd have. But I'm telling you now,
so how did that
work?
2
years that was.
How did you because obviously you've got you've this successful chippy on the end of the pier, which obviously, like you said, there was nothing there, so you kind of set this business up ready to go. What made you then, because running a takeaway to running a restaurant, they're like completely different ends of the spectrum, aren't they? Really, in hospitality. So how did you get into that?
Well, as you know, it's never enough, is it?
So anyone who knows Lorraine and is listening will know exactly what she means by that.
It's never enough. So I thought, and I'd got James with me by this point, who and a lot of people know. And it's like having a clone of me in there in terms of trust, in terms of standards, in terms of everything. So I know I'm very safe. So I thought, right, I'll be all right down here in Pier Point. James would be all right there at Peyton Pier Chippy. Anyway, we signed on the dotted line, and everybody that was working there had heard these rumour, it's just going to be a glorified fish and chip shop, and everybody left apart from two people. And despite I was saying, our predominant dish is going to be fish and chips, you're at the seaside. And also, have you seen what you've been selling the most of on your figures? It's fish and chips. So we're going to nurture that. We're going to also have a takeaway. Anyway, cut a long story short, I couldn't open until the July. And what we did, we opened, we created the takeaway because we didn't know if we'd ever get open. And we were planning on the refurb, and we'd ordered our range and everything. But I rang up Paul. I said, Paul, what we're going to do is we're going to knock an hole in the wall. And I'm just wondering if you've got a range I can borrow till I can. It was the middle of COVID. And Paul says, what are you doing? I said, look, we don't know if we can open the restaurant, but it's a shame. These people are going on their walks. And I just we could get some fish and chips out this window. So we're going to build a bit. So our guy knocked the wall out. Paul got us a wall range, and our guy put a partition in. So we managed to start selling fish and chips in the May. We couldn't open the restaurant, obviously. I'd got because the Pier Point's got a little kiosk on the side with donuts and ice creams and that. So we got that open. But also, what I forgot to tell you was, just a few weeks before we bought Pier Point, we bought the Candy Bar, which is an ice cream and swag shop and everything along the promenade. Yeah, like I say, it's never enough. I thought, let's not have one business, let's have three in COVID. But I didn't know that it was going to be COVID, let's face it. So anyway, when everybody talks about lockdown, I've no clue what they're talking about because I never had a lockdown.
You were just
like, that would be nice.
Phone calls and being like, right, how am I going to do deliveries? How am I getting this?
Yeah, how am I going to do it? Right,
Talk to me.
Click and collect, put me in touch. I need to get this open because they wouldn't let us open Pay Picture because they were closed all the roads.
Yes.
So I rang the council. I said, if we man the barrier, will you let our customers have access to pick them up? And she says, yeah, all right then. But also, not that we were allowed to, but the people that were on their daily walks were coming up to the counter going, can we order? And I was like, just come down to this one window, but don't tell nobody. And we were getting around it like that. So we were all right. But there was just me, James, and one more person in each day doing that. But it was great. Anyway, so Pier Point, we then, the second lockdown, so Pier Point was only trading for 11 weeks.
Was it really?
In that first year, because we did the refurb, which was a complete refurb, back to bricks and mortar with everything. And that took about 6 months.
And was that all during COVID, that complete knockdown and refurb?
Yeah. And quite the challenge. And then obviously with staff, you know what staff was like during when we were trying to get ourselves back together and everything. Yeah. Nobody wanted to work. The flipping with this what was it called? Furlough.
Yes.
Insane. Nobody wanted to work. I'd say it's only these past last year and this year where things have got getting back to normal. Absolutely ridiculous. The worst mistake. Well, we won't get into that. The worst mistake ever made, that furlough.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway. So how did you find, Lorraine? Obviously, you're kind of going from, like you said, had you had any hospitality experience at all before Paint and Pier Chippy, or had you
only working in the bars? I worked in the bars in the theatres.
Yeah.
When you're an actress, you got to have another job.
Yeah.
One of mine was working in the bars. Very lucky enough to work in the theatres there. Seen some amazing shows, Phantom and all the rest of them. But also, I ran my own bar.
Okay.
In Greece. I ran a couple at one point or another. But no, apart from that, no. But the thing is, Kelly, if you like things a certain way, if you're a good operator in what you're doing, if you're thinking outside the box, I think it's okay. Yeah. As long as you arm yourself with the tools and surround yourself with the right people, and learn from the best, which was always my intention, and which is what I always did in the beginning and still continue to do, like yourselves.
That's what I love about you. It's like being it's like an interrogation room. I love it. You just want to absorb all the knowledge, which is exactly how we were at the start. And I love that. And actually now, you probably don't realise it. You're probably giving out loads of knowledge to other people as well, and that's really nice.
Oh no, God, I'm still the new kid. I'm quite happy being the new kid on the block still.
So obviously you kind of once Paint and Pier, and let's sort of skip a couple of years. You Paint and Pier's up and running through COVID. Not Paint and Pier, sorry. Pier Point is up and running through COVID. Had you got rid of Paint and Pier by that point? When did that No.
No, I was doing the triangle. I was going from Pier Point to the candy bar to Paint Pier Chippy, back to Pier. I was doing that and home sleeping, and I was doing the obligatory 10, 12-hour days, as you do when you're setting up. And at one point, do you know what I'll never forget? Because I was having real trouble at Pier Point with staff and all the rest of it. At one point, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning because I can see Pier Point from my house.
Yeah.
And I sat and I looked through the window and I looked down at it about 3 o'clock in the morning. I forget it. And I went, you will not beat me. I will beat you. You will not beat me. Because it was like I'd created this monster.
Yeah.
Or was creating this monster. And sure enough, time goes on, and Emery said, come on, let's get away from it. Who cares? So if you close for a couple of days, who cares? Come on, I've had enough. You're under too much stress. So I think we went away for a couple of days. I didn't close it, by the way.
Yeah.
I didn't. And we went away for a couple of days, and I thought, yeah, actually, it's okay.
You don't realise, do you? I think the pressure to get it right, we're very similar in that aspect. Perfection is always the number one goal.
Everything. It's got to be perfection. We strive for perfection. And I always say, if you're striving for 100%. If you get 95, 96, and it's okay.
Yeah. It's a
That's
long
still
time
better.
to accept, though, right? It's a lot.
100%. Literally, I've only just accepted that, really. And I've only accepted it because Henry keeps saying, what do you think's going to happen if you don't get that 100? But he's worse than me.
Yeah.
He's worse than me. He don't come down Pier Point very often, because when he comes down, he goes, oh, is that all right? Are they meant to be doing that? I do that. I say, torture. You can't relax and sit down and enjoy it. So anyway, but it has taken me a long time to do that. And last year, I thought, oh, I'll tell you what's a good idea. We're all settled. Everything's nice. Everything's going along. Got a great team behind me. We've sold Pier Point Paint and Pier Chippy by now.
Yeah.
And the reason being because Henry, we sold that 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Because Henry was selling the pier, but I wasn't going to sell it. But then they said they would like it, and I said, well, we'll get a premium for it. So we did, and I was very happy with that. And we just put it towards the debt at Pier Point, obviously.
Yeah.
But so now James is over at Pier Point. We've got all our eggs in one basket, because COVID taught me that as well. You know, COVID taught me, let's just live a better life. You know, let's not. Life's too short. So what I decided to do then was buy 2 arcades an hour and a half away.
Because let's just add that into the mix. More travelling in summer in the in the southwest in your car. Why would you not do that?
Hang on a minute. In an industry I've not got a clue about, apart from working in an arcade when I was 15. So I was like, that's a good idea. An hour and a half there, an hour and a half back in Blue. But anyway, you used to have to stay over and all the rest of it. Anyway, after that, summer operating it, and James was down there most of the time. So he was down there most of the time. So I was back and forth here trying to keep my eye on Pier Point and blah, blah, blah. And so I thought, do you know what? This is ridiculous. Let's get it gone.
Yeah.
So we got that gone. And now we're back to breathe again.
So, Lorraine, you're clearly very driven and very ambitious. Where do you get that from?
I think that's my mum. She was good. She was an entrepreneur. But she never, I mean, I lost my mum. She was very young. My mum was only 54.
Wow.
I was very young. I was 26. But she was very driven. She was very, let's say, money motivated, because I suppose that's what it is. That makes you an entrepreneur. I don't know. I think it kind of is. And she did all sorts. She used to sell clothes, to get taken around people's houses. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember those. I remember that. I remember those people used to come.
Well, you lived in Newark. My mum used to take the clothes rounds in the van. Yeah. My mum probably, My mum used to. People used to have clothes parties.
Yes, I remember those. My mum would always take me. I only remember back being 4 years old. I used to go and sit in someone's front room, and there'd be a woman.
That's it.
Be able to go and
That'd be my
on.
mum. That'd be my mum going round with them clothes. I'm telling you now, because that. What else did she do? We used to sell strawberries on the side of the road on the A38 and places like that. I mean, now you'd get locked up for it, but in the lay-by, we used to do that. And I mean, I remember being really proud, getting my own stall at 11.
Yeah.
How did someone not abduct me and kidnap me?
To be fair, though, with our mouths, Elaine, I don't think anyone would kidnap us.
I know, that's it. But I weren't totally on my own. She was on the store opposite. But I remember thinking, oh, yeah, this is good. I got my own store. And no, I did. The money weren't mine. I still got paid. But because I had my own store, I got more money.
That's amazing.
And if I was bestseller, I got an extra 50 pence. So I always tried to make sure I was bestseller. And if I sold out, she'd buy us a Chinese.
Oh, I love that.
So there's all these sort of things that always been spurred on. And I met Henry's family when I was 15, started working there at the arcade and that, and went to live with his family in Wales. And their family's always been very entrepreneurial, and, well, Henry certainly has. And, Also, that's also the perfection thing, because that comes from my mum, that comes from Henry's family, and the way I've just been surrounded by people like that. And when I went to live in Greece, again, I was running a supermarket at 21.
Wow.
Because they had a supermarket, but they didn't really have a clue about what to do. I was like moving all the shelves around. No, this goes with this goes with this. Want more English products? Most of your people here are English, so I kind of did all that, and then I opened my own tourist office next door, which was very successful, because that was in the days there was no mobile phones.
Yeah.
So people had their safety deposit boxes in there, and they changed up their travellers' checks and their cash with me, you see. So I used to let them have them for free, the boxes, if they changed the money up with me.
I love that.
So
Entice the customers in anyway.
Yeah, they'd give me a deposit, which I'd give them back at the end of the week. But I'd say, you ain't been thinking, no, you ain't got your deposit, but you haven't been changing your money up with me. And I sold boat trips and, car ride, all of that sort of thing. And their telephone, when they came to use the telephone, of course, I'd add an extra 30 seconds on, 10 seconds, something like that, because you just timed it. And then that would pay for my calls back to my mum.
I love that. But that's it, isn't it? It's those little things along the way that then drive you when you're, when the chips are down, pardon the pun, but you remember those things and you're like, no, actually, do you know what? I've come a long way and I'm going to keep on pushing through regardless of what's thrown at you.
Well, the thing is, I've started again so many times. I came back from Greece and my mum had died and all the rest of it. And here I was again, and I was starting again and I've done it a few times. And the last time I was in Greece, which was 2010 to 2016, like I said, skin beyond skin, the worst financial crisis Greece has seen since the war. There was a tax on tax. It was just ridiculous. And when I got back to the UK, I just wanted to, I could have gone and thought, I'll audition and do something. But I thought, no, I need to focus on, I don't ever want to be skint again. I don't want to ever be in a position where I'm counting out pennies to go and get the bread in the morning.
Yeah.
And that's how skint it was. It was horrendous. And so I never, ever want to be in that position again. So that's another drive for me.
Yes, absolutely.
And I can't shake that. I can't shake it. I wish I could. I might have to go and get therapy.
Or shop. They're kind of the same thing.
It don't stop me spending it. I was just about to say that. It doesn't stop me spending it, although I'm not as bad as everybody tries to make out. Not always shopping.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm here for it. I'm that one person you should never take with you.
I do love it. But you know what? You know what the good thing is now? I go in, and this is great. I go in and I look around, and I don't have to buy anything.
Yeah.
And the nice feeling is I can.
Yes.
Whereas before, when you go in shopping and you're going, I really want that, and you don't question yourself, you can't afford it.
Yeah.
And you don't buy it, but sometimes you buy it because you want to make yourself feel better.
Yeah.
This I'm talking about in my past. But now I just go, do you though? Do you really want it?
Yeah.
So I end up actually, I don't spend a lot.
It's nice though, isn't it? It's like you say, and it's what drives you to be better.
Yeah.
Those things are what drive you, because actually, you've got your memories of your mom, and being in a position where you're able to do those things is really, really nice, isn't it? It makes a hell of a difference. And like you say, you've been in some positions where you haven't been able to afford bread in the morning, and to not be in a position where you're constantly thinking about money all the time. It makes a difference. And I think it reflects on the people around you, the people that you're training, those stories really come into effect, don't they, with your team and things, when they see how hard you've had to work to get to where you are.
Oh yeah. And I mean, it's like, I do look at the little things and I'm like, why are we wasting that? Why are you using that napkin?
So, Lorraine, you've got.
I'm laughing because I said it yesterday. I said I was in the bar because I had to jump on the bar yesterday, and we've had really busy. We've been brilliant, thank God, with the sunshine.
Yes.
And I jumped on the bar. I said, "Where's the cloth?" Because we've got this pipe where it goes in the thing. You got to wipe the nozzle. I said, "Where's the thing?" She says, "I just use that." I said, "Why are you doing that? You got to throw that away every time." I said, "Just get a linen. Just get one of the linens and use it. You throwing that away?" Yeah, I didn't think of that.
That's the world we're living in, though. That's the world we're living in. These crazy kids.
Yeah, so I do look at the little things, and I look how thick they're slicing those lemons and limes and all, and I look because no, but there's all your waste, and it infuriates me.
Absolutely. So your team, you've touched a couple of times on the fact that you've got this team and you've built this team, and that takes time, doesn't it? You know, you kind of you almost have to sort the wheat from the chaff, as they used to say, and kind of get right to the root
continuously. But let me tell you, when you feel in the depth of despair and it's never going to happen, I always say you have to kiss a lot of frogs to find your prince, and it's the same with your staff. And let me tell you, there'll be a hell of a lot of frogs, but now and again a little gem comes along and they're a keeper, and then they're a keeper, then they're them 100 are not, but that one is. And slowly you build a nice little team with a great atmosphere, and it's a pleasure going in there and everybody's happy. Do you know, yesterday I was on that bar for an hour or so, and Bex said, "Well, no, we're all good now, thanks." I said, "What?" She's, yeah, we're all good now. I said, yeah, we're all good. I said, "Well, what are you trying to say?" She says, "It's just when you're behind here, you make us nervous." I said, "Good. I'm glad to make you nervous." I said, "Right, let me go and see if they want me in the kitchen." James was in there and that as well. I said, "You're all right in there? Should I jump on?" No, literally all of them, no.
Bugger off and leave us alone.
I said, "Right, now because you've said that, I'm going to go and get changed and I'm coming on." But actually, as it happens, I didn't.
It is the thing, though, isn't it? When you get to a point where your team, I mean, I'll just touch on Good Friday in a minute. I mean, I don't know about you, but it's the worst bloody Good Friday we've had with the weather. Shocking. For us this year was shocking.
Literally shocking.
And everyone on Facebook saying what a great time they've had, and I'm thinking, Jesus Christ.
Me too. Do you remember all them years ago? My first Good Friday in Paynton, and I rang Tim. I said, "Tim, I've got to ring you because I'm so excited. I've got to tell you how much I told." I won't say it now. I told you how much I told. I was so excited. I said I couldn't believe it because I had to borrow. Henry went over and got fish from you.
He did. Yeah. They were amazing. It was amazing times they were, weren't they?
And I rang Tim. I said, "Tim, guess what?" And he went, "Wow, that's amazing. Your first Good Friday, that's brilliant." I said, "What did you do?" Because I'm a cheeky cat. And when he told me, I said, "Oh my God, I thought I did well." I said, "Right, that's my goal for next year."
And I think you beat it, didn't you?
And we beat it. And he went, "All right, but guess what we've done this year?" And you'd way beat yours. So it was. I loved all that. I mean, that was all, brilliant. I mean, it's different now because we've got the takeaway and the restaurant and all the rest of it. However, with the Good Friday, going back to you, and I'm talking over you, literally insane, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
I can't believe it.
I think that's it. And what I was going to say is, obviously, we're both in very, we're literally half an hour down the road from each other. We're both in seaside town locations, and I think that makes a huge difference on our business. Do you find when you come to sort of employ your team members, do you find it harder? Do you find it harder than sort of people you speak to in the industry up north, or do you think we're all in the same boat at the moment with the way the country is?
I think things are a lot better. COVID, I think certainly when I first got here and I said, "No one wants to work." This was before COVID. I said, "What's wrong with these people?" I said, "I've never known it. I've never had a problem employing people. In Greece and everything, they can't wait to get a job, you know what I mean?" Anyway, and I thought, this is wrong. Anyway, then COVID made it doubly worse. But then being at the seaside, I think you're right. They've got a different mindset. They've got a completely different mindset at the seaside. However, what I've now done, I've got my core team, because of course you've got to carry them through the winter, and it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult. So I've got a core team, and then I shore those up with quite a few students,
Yeah.
etc. I mean, I've changed my business model since that appalling budget, which stood to increase my wage bill. Well, with the wage bill, so payroll as a whole plus the business rates and everything was 98 grand.
It's mad.
No one believed me, but that's from my accountant.
Yeah.
That's from Bishop Fleming. That ain't me made up. That ain't Gareth in the office. That's Bishop Fleming. Anyway, the point was, so I've changed the business model. I've had to, and we'll be employing 10 less people than we did last year,
Right.
because of that very reason. Now, tell that to Robert Reeves, as I call her.
And
I mean, that's ridiculous.
And it impacts on the quality of your service, doesn't it? You guys will do everything.
It could have done, but it's not. No. It could have done, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard, isn't it? Because you kind of, the people are still spending money. I don't know about you, but I feel like when people come on holiday, they've worked so hard, especially, they're not paying money to go. It's expensive enough. They're not paying money to go abroad like they used to. They're going on British holidays, which are, haven and campsites are not cheap anymore. It's not the traditional cheap British holiday. So, but they've saved that money all year. They've got their 2 weeks spending money probably in their purse, and they're going out and they're like, right, where am I going to go and how am I going to spend that? And I think that puts, I know it certainly puts me under a lot of pressure as a business in terms of making sure that we're generating through the door and everything. I'm sure, do you feel that same pressure to make sure that everything's as it should be?
100%, because as I always say, what the motto is, we have regular team meetings, and I say, remember, everybody that walks through the door is a VIP. We're very lucky and honoured that they have chosen Pier Point to spend their hard-earned money. This might be one time a month they're going out, or they're on holiday and they've chosen us. And we're extremely lucky that they've chosen us. So we've got to give them the best experience. They are VIPs. Every single person is a VIP from the minute they come up to be seated to the minute that they leave. And it's the same on the takeaway, and it's the same and I still, I employ, Kelly, and I pay for a mystery shop every month. I have a mystery shop on the restaurant, and I have a mystery shop on the takeaway, and even on the ice cream and donuts, to make sure that they're all getting it right and they're offering that level of customer service.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important, isn't it? Like, because obviously we've done mystery shops before, and they're not cheap. It's an investment at the end of the day. But I think, it'd be good to sort of say to people, look, if you can't afford a company to come and do that, there's no reason that you can't outsource it to friends of friends and give them a list of questions to fill out, and it'll cost you a meal. You'll still get the same feedback. I think it's really important to be able to, don't just bet on your laurels, use that experience of mystery shopping that you may have had in awards, or you may have heard, like, us talking about today. Don't be afraid to go and ask a friend of a friend to fill out a questionnaire for some free fish and chips, because you get that 100% feedback, don't you?
I'm more than happy. Give me a call, anybody. I'll bob round and come and have your fish and chips, and I'll tell you.
Yeah, and I think that's the great thing. We're in a network, aren't we? There's owners that aren't too far away, friends of owners that aren't too far away. And I think it's really important. So do you find that those mystery shops drive your team? Do you share those results? And if you do, how do you share them?
I share them every single month, and I go through it with them, and I go through all the scores, and I say, what could we have done with that? What couldn't we have done with that? And then I name and shame. If it was a bad report, now and again it is. Very luckily, the last several, it's been late 90s. We've even had 2 100%, so that's very good. But I name and shame either way. If it's good or if it's bad, I name and shame. Because, and that way, I think that's not being cruel. That's being, oh shit, I don't want to be named in shame. I'll up my game. Sorry for swearing, but
don't worry. That's it. We've heard worse on this podcast. So, and do you think that they take from that? Like your employees?
Yes, I do. The ones that care.
Yeah.
The ones that care. And there are some people, and you know what I say to them? Listen, guys, this isn't your forever job. I'm under no illusion. But it's your right now job. So please, whilst you're here and I'm paying you, please give everything 100% to it and you'll rise the cream. The cream will rise.
Yes. Absolutely.
But otherwise, I won't have any shifts to give you. So it's your choice.
Yeah.
You either step up or you don't. And the people that do get the shifts. The people that do get rewarded. I do an employee of the month. It's £100 cash out my own pocket.
That's good. That's amazing.
And they get 100 quid. So they're all there with all these incentives, trust me. And because they see as well that people that I am invested in the team, but I'm also invested in the business and I'm invested in all the incentives that we do coming up. Obviously, it's the 10th anniversary Fish and Chip Day that we're doing fish and chips for £10 large, 12 till 2. On the 5th, our 5th birthday's coming up where we're 5. So it'll be £5 on the 5th of July from 12 to 5 for 5 hours. Do you know what I mean? So that's an incentive. We're doing the 10% discount for the VE Day initiative, the NFFF are running, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think it's really, really important. Fisherman's Mission, I'll get them in because they're one of our chosen charities that we support along with Rowcroft. Who recently I just won an award. Don't know if you've heard.
I have, and I was going to bring that up. It's on my list of things to talk about. Let's not digress. Tell me about that. So obviously you were up in London. It was only, 3 weeks ago, was it?
A couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Do you know what, Kelly? I didn't even know that they did awards. And that's the swear to God I didn't. I swear on my life I did not know. And we've always supported Fishermen's Missions from when I heard about it, when we were in Paint and Pier Chippy. And I've always had a little box on the counter and I've always, I've always supported it. And I'm going, oh yeah, let's do that for the fishermen. Let's give them that, Fisherman's Mission. And so, of course, Pier Point, we've always had that. And every National Fish and Chip Day, we always have Albert out there. One of the staff dresses as Albert and we'll go out there and I'm there and we do new species and give, we try and get people to eat new stuff. That made hate go on the menu, by the way.
Wow.
And that outsells place now. We've took place up, yeah? And that was only 2 years ago. So it does work.
Yes.
But then people are because they're having free bits, they put £1 or whatever. And because it's Albert's there, the kids, want to come up and see Albert and have the photo and they put in pounds in and all that. Anyway, so you manage to get a couple of £100 from them.
That's great.
And that's just that one day, plus all the boxes. Plus, we do Seafood Feast. We do that every year.
Yeah.
And we do the seven chefs, 7 dishes, and they come to us for their fish and chips. It's like a pub crawl for food.
Oh, okay.
And all of that goes to Fisherman's Mission. And I used to say to Kelly, I don't want my money because you're allowed to get £10 back towards it.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't want mine, just keep giving it to them. And since then, all of the 7 venues don't take their £10. So Fisherman's Mission's managed to get all of that money now, all that ticket price, which is fabulous. I've shamed them. So that, and also Fisherman's, so for them to get in touch and say, you was nominated by the area manager, Ellen, lovely woman, I don't know if you know Ellen, and she's nominated you for the best fish and chip shop. And I was like, oh my God, how incredible was that? And so we won that, and I was like so happy because it was an award that we hadn't entered, didn't fill out no forms, didn't do nothing like that, and we were nominated by it, and it was decided by the board and the trustees, and it goes on, your fundraising and what you're doing and what all that sort of thing.
So it's real community, isn't it? Which is lovely.
Community thing. And I just thought, how lovely is that? And I was really happy to get that, and I'm still happy to get that. Especially after I've been licking my wounds since February.
We'll touch on that in a minute. I didn't know whether it was up for conversation.
Of course it is, absolutely, always.
I think it's I think it comes back down to the conversation we were having earlier, doesn't it, about striving for perfection? And
Yeah.
when we entered Fish and Chip Shop of the Year, it was 8 years in a row. We tried and tried and tried, and every time, I mean, and I guess for you, the only thing I can liken it to is conversations that I've had with people I know where they've auditioned for things and they've been told no, and they've had a door slammed in the face. But actually, you've got two choices, haven't you? You can either become the victim and go, well, clearly that I'm not good enough for them and they don't like me, or you can go, do you know what? It wasn't my time. How can I better myself, and how can I use that for my business? As hard as it is, and sometimes it takes a couple of days, and sometimes it takes a few months.
No, listen, I tell you what it was, Kelly. Initially, I was just like, oh, for God's sake. Right, that's it. I'm done. I can't go through this stress, blah, blah, blah. It's not fair on the team. All the nonsense. And of course, I quickly decided, obviously we're going to do it again. I can't not.
I'm going to interject, Lorraine. Though, should we just go back to the beginning of the awards? What have you achieved first? Exactly. You've won
top 3 newcomer. We got second in the country last year. Finalists on several categories. Several categories. So we've absolutely achieved on a national arena for first generation chip shop owners. Amazing, incredible, and testament to the team, and the fact that we've come through 2 years, and this particular venue that we're discussing, which is Pier Point, we've only, I'm going to say, 3 proper trading years because of COVID. So I'm immensely proud, and I'm immensely proud of what we've achieved, and also with the local awards that we've won so many local awards as well. It's really important. Yeah. We consistently get Taste of the West Gold and Food Drink Devon and all of those. So I'm very, very proud of what we've achieved there and my team. I really am. And do you know what? One of my team came to me and said, I know you don't want to do the awards, but can we do it for you? I think they thought I didn't want to do it. I said, if we're going to be doing the awards, I'll be doing them. What they meant was, we can fill out the forms for you if you can't, and they didn't kind of really get what I was saying. So anyway, I did announce them. I said, look, of course we're going to do the awards. Why would we not? I said, just had to lick my wounds for a week, but of course we're going to do it. And I've had the feedback now.
And do you share that with your team, or do you feel like that's a bit too? Yeah.
100%. I share everything with the team. They're part of everything. And it's so important to keep them included. It's so important that they are part of the whole process. And going back to Taste of the West, we were, and how important your team is, we were invited as gold winners to put a recipe in their book.
Right.
So I could have just gone and put something in there.
Yeah.
Using local product, and get me named. No, I got my chef to do it. And his name's everywhere. His picture's all over the banners. We've got a book with him in.
That's fantastic.
And all the rest of it that I bought a load of, and we do as giveaways or as reduced, if you spend so much, then you get a book. And Fisherman's Mission have invited us to part of their calendar.
Oh, that's lovely.
And they want a local fish,
Thank God. I thought you were going to say James and Calendar Girls came to mind then.
I know. Hey, I've been in Calendar Girls when I was in Greece. Digressing again. Anyway, so because I've got 2 chefs in there that deal with all our fresh fish and all that sort of thing that we do, but they also are cross-trained in frying. So now I've got myself 5 or 6 fryers when they were like hen's teeth.
Yeah. That's great, isn't it? To be able to have that level of skill, to be able to create new recipes as well. Because I think that's...
No, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant because that was always my plan, having an open kitchen like that services the takeaway and the restaurant. And we have that island in the middle. And my plan was always that anyone can go on any section at any one time.
Yeah.
and we can't be vulnerable. So if someone rings in sick or if someone's late, then someone can jump on.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens. And I'm really lucky, Tony, head chef, he'll jump on anyway. He'll jump on pot wash. He can jump on the fry, jump on the... And it's the same with Kelly, who's my second chef. And so he's going to come up with... and I think it's important to include them all. So Tony got the book, Kelly's getting the calendar.
That's
and that's only fair.
It's really, really nice.
So when you go back to the team, it's really important, I think, that they're included with everything because they're more invested in the business. They're more invested in what's happening. Everybody gets a bonus at the end of the summer. Everybody gets a loyalty bonus at the end in November, just ready for Christmas, for the Christmas shopping. Depend on how long you've been with me.
And I think that makes a difference, doesn't it? Because actually, like you were saying, it's kind of intertwined with the awards when you're applying for things. In actual fact, it doesn't matter what you put down on that form. If your team aren't behind you, you do not get to that level that you are at and we are at. It just doesn't happen. You can write a good story, but if you haven't got the characters to make sure it works, then actually it's next to nothing, isn't it?
It's not going to happen, and that's the thing. And we come up with different initiatives, and I say to them, what ideas you got, whatever, and they do come up with different things. It was like the guy with the walking tours who comes by Pier Point all the time. He brings his tours, the Agatha Christie tour and things like that. He walks by. One of them said to me, have you thought about having a chat with him? He could fetch him in here because it's in the morning when we're at our quietest. So that's what we've done. We've linked up with the walking tours man and they get 10% off if they come up after the tour. Things like the loyalty card. We're not doing it on the fish and chips. It's too expensive. We're doing it on cake. We're doing it on hot drinking cake. So in the morning when we're at our quietest, they have a hot drink and a cake, and if they get a little stamp, old-fashioned way, and if they get 10, then they get a free coffee and a cake. Now, they might still be there for their fish and chips at lunchtime. They might still be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's encouraging the community interaction all the time.
And you said that came from a team member to kind of hook up with that, them seeing things that are going on around them. Again, it's so important, isn't it? So kind of going back to the awards and sort of, obviously, like you said, you'd licked your wounds, and so that was you still came second though, didn't you, in restaurant category?
No, that was last year. This year, last year we got second. This year we didn't place.
Okay, that's all right though, isn't it?
That's why my cup bled for a little while.
Do you know what though, isn't it? It's that
it's only because I want to win everything.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Again, it's that perfection, isn't it?
Yeah.
So obviously, I don't know how the awards work now in terms of applying. It must be soon. Is it in the sort of May time still that you've kind of got to get your...
Well, it's not open yet, but I would say, anytime soon. Yeah, of course we'll be in, 100%.
And do you think you'll enter multiple, or have you not thought about that process yet?
I'll see what categories there are again.
Yeah.
But they'll definitely be doing 2.
Yeah. It's great, isn't it? I still think, it's that driving force for the business, really. And it's a self-evaluation. And I think it keeps you on your toes, doesn't it? And I love that. That's what I love about the awards. That's that kind of...
Me too. I've said it, it's the MOT of the business. It's the MOT of the business. Like the Q Award is the MOT of the business.
Yeah.
That you have to do every year to make sure. Because things are going, oh my God, I didn't do that. Or, oh my God. Now, if you hadn't got your checklist, like your Q Award, you wouldn't know that you've forgotten something.
Yes.
You wouldn't know that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it really is. And I I can't envisage a time when I wouldn't do the Q Award. Why would you not do a Q Award?
Yeah. Absolutely. I think it's down to ensuring, like you say, it's like an MOT, isn't it? And I think that's so important to be able to ensure that your business is running at that level all the time. If you're going to do it on your car, why would you not do it for your business? Yeah.
It's why when EHO come in, I'm never worried
No. Well, because you're doing it all the time, aren't you?
because we're doing it anyway.
Yeah, all the time. We're
We're doing
exactly
it
the
anyway.
same. Yeah.
They came a few months ago, and we weren't there. And the worst that the most she come up with was the fridge in the kiosk where the donuts that we keep water in and flake so they don't melt and that sort of thing was a domestic fridge and not a commercial fridge, under counter fridge. So what have I done? I've took that out and I've bought a commercial fridge. I had to take a panel out. I mean, to make it fit because the different sizes. It's nonsense.
Yeah, it is. And I must admit, I don't know about you, I think we've had EHOs come in and say that our kitchen's cleaner than theirs at home, which is quite
That's nice. No, but that's nice.
But that's what it's like though, isn't it? You know, because you make sure that everything is absolutely spot on all the time.
Yeah. And it's really important. And then that carries through in everything because it carries through into service, it carries through into customer service, it carries through into the product, it carries through. If you have that perfection, that ethos around where you're working, that carries through. And I know, people of a tendency have said, "Oh, she's very strict. She's this, that." Yeah, I know because I ain't got children. I've got 40 odd.
Yeah,
that's what I always say.
It's firm but fair, isn't it? And I think there's a lot to be said for that style of management. I think, I don't know about you, but I think they know where they stand with me. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes. I'm not going to chastise them, although they are like children. I won't chastise you like a child. This is the way we run the business. Like you said, this is what we expect. This is the level we expect you to be at. And that essentially is it. And I will be as kind as the day is long. But if you make a mistake, that's how you run your business, isn't it? It's so important. It's firm but fair.
The other thing is, I think staff retention is an indication of who you are.
Yes.
And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 people that work with me over in Pier Point who came over to work with me at Paint Picture, but they came over to Pier Point.
Yeah.
And I've got others who started at Pier Point, been with me for 4 years, 5 years since I opened it.
Yeah. And that says a lot about you, doesn't it? You can say that's the business, but it's not. It's you, and it's what they get from you. And they clearly feel like they're looked after.
Yeah, if they didn't feel appreciated, no one's going to stay somewhere that they don't feel appreciated. No one's going to stay somewhere where someone's a monster and horrible. Why would they do that? So
I think that's where your personality comes into the business, though, isn't it? And that's it's not. You don't really change just because you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, as long as you kind of remain those values. And I know you and I are very much literally built out of the same cloth in terms of where we're from. And I think
what is.
Yeah, and it says a lot, doesn't it? I think it's that kind of wholesome. Yeah, work hard for what you've got because
we've still got our feet on the ground. Very often when someone comes into the office. When someone comes into the office, someone say, "Look, listen, I didn't magically, no one gave me this place. I didn't magically just suddenly appear. I've had to work bloody hard for this."
Absolutely.
So let me tell you, when this happens and that happens, of course I'm not going to be very happy.
Yeah.
Or, do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Or sometimes I might be consoling them. Because I do pay for every single person. I think I told you this as well. Hospitality in Action, they've got a 24/7 helpline.
Yes.
And they all have access to that. So, because I kept finding more and more of them coming in with mental health issues, with problems at home, for whatever reason, and stress. And I thought, I am not qualified to deal with this. I am not qualified. I can advise them and I can draw on my own experiences, but I'm not qualified to deal with this. So I decided this was a good incentive, very good, even though it costs money. And now they've all got access to it. Someone who was having a bit of a drinking problem has accessed it. Someone who needed debt management advice, someone going through a divorce needed it. Money issues, mental health, all these things, and they've used the helpline. It's totally confidential. I don't know that they've used it unless they come and say to me, by the way, it was really useful to have access to phones. I rang them last night, and it's 24/7.
And it's
and I just think that's really valuable.
Yeah, because
With
it is
the
a
size-
high pressure industry that we're in, and like you say,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but we employ lots of people, and I'm sure you do too. And a lot of them don't come from corporate backgrounds. They've got history and they've got baggage, and you take that on and you support them, don't you? And
well, what I say is, me and James say, all very troubled.
Yes, absolutely.
All very troubled. And James always says, because he says, I'd rather you weren't interviewing anymore. I said, what are you talking about? He says, you keep giving chances he says, you keep giving chances. And he'll go, one of yours, but I'll let him have a trial, but we'll see. One of yours, and one of mine means someone who may look like, and maybe 1 in 10 turn out to be okay, but I just feel like then they're worth giving a chance to. Do you know what I mean? I feel sometimes people only need a chance, but then again, I have had the pee taken out of me many, many times, and some makes you try. It can test your faith in human nature, but I do keep going, and I do keep interviewing now and again, because I say, no, I want to see what's coming through the door there.
Absolutely. And it's so important. I do exactly the same. And I think I let my manager do most of the interviewing, but sometimes I like to go in through Indeed, and I like to look at what's coming through, and I like to make sure that, sometimes you get applications and they get missed because your managers are busy. So it's nice to sort of see those emails and help them. But normally I'm exactly the same though. They just look at me and think, please don't employ these people. So I'm just like, come on.
James is always saying it.
Come in. We'll give you a job if no one else will.
That's what James says. We might see someone in the street and he'll go, oh, one of yours. When they start at Pier Point, I say, oh, sure.
So you've mentioned James a couple of times. Is he?
Yes.
So he's your right-hand man, right? He's amazing.
Oh, he's my right-hand man, yeah, definitely. 100%. He's me when I'm not there.
Yeah.
In a different character.
It's great, isn't it, to be able to have that support?
100%. I trust him. James and I have run our own business before.
Right.
We ran a bar in Greece together. And I trust him. I trust him more than I trust myself. 'Cause I always say, I don't trust anyone. I don't trust nobody. Don't trust myself. I'm forever looking at them Zeb readings and the refunds and going, did you get the refund receipt with them refunds? What's going on here? And Yeah. And in actual fact, I'm glad I do, because I've just caught someone, by the way, and had to dismiss them.
It's important, isn't it? You don't. I think you're kind. Like we were saying, your kindness is mistaken for weakness sometimes. I think people.
That's what I say to them. That's mine. Don't mistake my kindness for weakness. But the thing is, I just caught someone. Yeah, it's like that. What was all that about? Can you just explain to me why? Because first of all, I went about the nails, and then I said, "Now, can you explain to me why why you refunded those 2 slush puppies?" She says, yeah, because I put 2 through, but they only had 1. I said, no, they didn't. I watched on the camera. I said, they had 2. The lady walked away, paid you in cash.
Yeah.
And you just, I said, so what happened to that cash? Because you weren't up, the till weren't up. So what happened to the cash? Oh, I don't know. I've explained that. She was all nervous. I said, well, we both know what happened. I said, but I've decided I'm not going to take it any further. But obviously you're not going any further either. So please return your uniform ASAP, blah, blah, blah. And her mum was waiting for her outside in the car. And I thought, please come in, because she won't tell her mum what the conversation.
They tell them half the story, don't they?
Yeah, but anyway, her mum didn't come back. I was really praying and hoping that she was. But yeah, we've caught. They're still out there. We catch them. So don't trust no one.
It's that that we heavily rely on cash at card, don't we now? And card is. I don't know about you, but I think it's about 90% of our business, 95% of our business now.
Yeah, definitely.
There's still cash out there, and you still have to have those sort of they're sort of what I call old school problems that we've dealt with for years and years and years. Probably not as frequent now as they used to be, because they don't see the volumes that you used to take when you were busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is very different. So what what next, Lorraine? What's next? Or dare I ask? Or don't you know? Or may it change tomorrow?
No, do you know what, Kelly? I think I'm in a place, like I said to you at the beginning, where I'm really happy.
Yeah.
Really happy, and I really don't want to. Why upset that equilibrium? However, I'm also me. But I think for now, I think it's time to just breathe a minute. We've got a couple of road trips, which we love doing, around the country, where I'll be visiting a chip shop near you anytime soon, because I like to go out and about. And we went all the way up to Ceres in the outer
At the Real
Highlands.
Food Cafe. Yeah.
Yeah. Not last year before. But yeah, we'll be going on our little road trip. Not a fish and chip road trip, by the way, everybody. We're not sad, but we're going on a road trip. And, yes, to be fair. And so, there's also, we've got new initiatives as well going on. Also, I just need to mention that I said about charity engagement. I just think this is important because it's such an easy thing if anyone's listening that they want to help with the community and they're not sure how to. We started Invisible Chips, which if people press the Invisible Chips, it's £2.50.
Yeah.
And it goes to Rowcroft, our local charity. And it's a way of doing a charitable thing without a hard sell on charity and all that sort of thing. And we've raised thousands for them. It's also inspired. I mean, I nicked it from Tom Kerridge because it's some Kerridges for £9, by the way, which is a bit steep. But so £2.50 Invisible Chips. So it's inspired what Rowcroft have done. Have gone round Torbay now and said, dine and donate, they've called it. So even £1. So rather than like mine, which is a fixed, Invisible Chips, £2.50, it's a dine and donate, whatever you can. So that was from what Rowcroft. So we've inspired a new incentive as well. But what my point I'm trying to make is, shops can just get involved if they're not sure. It's something very simple like that. You haven't got to spend loads of money by sponsoring teams and stuff like that if you can't afford it. I mean, we are sponsoring Pride again. Torbay Pride, very important. But you don't have to do sponsorship. You can just put something like that on the menu, which is cost you nothing.
It's great, isn't it? Yeah, it gets you involved, and like you say, I think a lot of people are scared of doing charity because they assume it's going to come with these £1,000 bills for sponsorship, and I think
you haven't got to.
No, you can have those talks, and like you say, set up something as simple as that, and really effective, really, really effective.
Yeah. We've raised thousands. I even jumped out of a plane for them.
Bloody hell.
I know, I did that last year. But anyway, what's next? So I think it's just about breathing. It's about concentrate. This year, James and I are both back in there proper, our attention, if you like, because those arcades have gone. And maybe that affected our awards. I don't know, by not being 100% present.
Yeah.
This year we are. So I'm going to concentrate on the awards. We've got some other awards coming up as well soon. And I think just continuing to deliver, and I think continuing to think outside the box any way we can. We've just put, I'll tell you what we've just put on, which is going mental, is Batter Collie.
Oh, wow.
Don't even.
That's mad.
Batter Collie. I tell you what, it's cheap as chips, and hello, they're loving it.
Nice little dip
Profit
with
margin.
that.
Huh?
Nice little dip with it as well.
Nice little dip, homemade dip.
It's mad, isn't it? It's just those little things.
It's a curry. It's an homemade curry mayo.
Oh wow, that's fantastic.
In mine and your language, Tony just chucks a bit of curry powder in the curry powder.
But you know
curry
what?
Sauce in the
It's those little things.
Mayo. I'm telling you, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that came from Tony, one of the team.
That's great.
Why don't we put the collie on? I was like, yeah, let's do it. Because I'd said to him, I want another veggie one that we can do takeaway. Because that's what I do. I think in my head, we need something, da-da-da. And I go to the team and I say, look, we need something, da-da-da-da-da. And so that they all have a little input.
Yeah.
I don't want to say, right, we're putting this on, right, we're putting that on, right, we're putting the other on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think what is important to me, though, whatever's on that menu, I can go in and cook. Whatever job there is to be done in that place, I can go and do. And I'm still rumble chips.
Yeah, you've got to be able to.
I'm still rumble chips because I'd rather not disturb them if they're all in their flow in the kitchen. I'd rather just go and do it myself.
Yeah.
As would James. But, I'll still jump on pot wash. I'll still fry, take away because I've been too vulnerable. And I think it's important. Everybody, if anyone's listening to this, I think it's important that you keep your hand in, you can jump on any section. Don't ever be vulnerable. Don't ever rely on anybody. Be able to do everything yourself. And even on the menu with the fresh fish, the grilled fish and everything, I can cook everything on there.
Yeah. It is hugely important. And I think it gives you the confidence in being able to step away. To know that in the back of your mind, you're not being held over a barrel anywhere. You're just, it is what.
That's it. Because I've had that.
Yeah.
In COVID and after COVID. And that won't happen again.
I think that affects your mental health, doesn't it? When you feel that pressure that actually, if anyone walked away, the whole business would crumble. And then actually,
I had 3 chefs walk out. I had 3 chefs walk out. What did I do? No, actually, before that, I had, when we first took over and everything, I had 5 front of house walk out. It left with me and one other girl. And that was when your girl, what's she called?
Oh, Megs, yeah.
Megs came. And I took 2 out of that. And what I did, we just did serve drinks for a minute. And I got someone over from Paynton and chucked Megs in at the deep end. So just go around and take some orders for me. She didn't know what she said. Jesus Christ, it's bedlam. Which it was, but I was just trying to get round navigate this problem that had happened that day. And then another time when after the refurb, I'd carried them all through the winter, all through the refurb, carried them, and 3 of them walked on me. Same day.
And it's hard, isn't it? It's hard.
No, I did. I went on limited menu. I stood at the fry myself again, had someone on the pass, and someone, and we just went on limited menu, which means, anything from the fryer, no problem. It just means there's no fresh stuff from the thing. Yeah. And slowly, I built it back up. Yeah. Look at us. And I've managed to blow in my own trumpet, but I'm not, because it's my team. Whenever I say anything, this is me blowing my trumpet on behalf of my team, because I've not done this myself. I've had a massive, great team behind me, supporting me and following instructions. But it's in the 5 years and 3 full years we've traded, we have doubled turnover.
That's fantastic.
Doubled. And even despite the budget and despite everything, we're on target. We've had a very, very, very good start to the year. With something like 16% up, which is ridiculous.
And that's great, isn't it? To be able to think that, now for the next 12 months that you're focused and to be able to do that with a team and be able to breathe, because that's the most important thing, isn't it?
Most important thing, breathe. And allowing the team to breathe. With the exception of bank holidays or the 6 weeks holidays, my team take their annual leave. I don't go into a panic anymore when I see an holiday request from any of the core team. I don't panic
exactly
anymore.
What I used to be like. Oh my God.
I was like, oh God. But, Aaron's currently on our annual leave. He's my manager, my front of house manager in that section, and besides plenty of other things he does, he's another godsend. On front of house wise, he's on annual leave, but that they didn't go into a panic because he wanted some time off. Or when Charlie says, I need a week, we just negotiate the days that he can have, because he never knows when's bloody holidays and when's not. But, because I've got all these other fryers now as well. So it's fantastic.
That's really good, isn't it? It's nice to be able to know that, going forward into what potentially, the weather's looking great this week. Hope long may it continue, because like we said earlier on, weather permitting down here, it can either make you or break you in some years, can't it? That weather, definitely.
100%.
So that's
why I say
what's next for
it's
you?
all about the upselling.
What's next
I'm
for
like
you?
that. Are you all upselling? Maximise every single sale. Maximise, upsell. Did they want a curry sauce with that one? Did they want any mushy peas? So it's all about maximising the sale on everything, on every person, and appreciating every person that comes in. And we do get lots and lots and lots of repeat. So it's all good.
Yeah.
Everything's good. I'm very positive. Like I say, despite that budget, despite all of that, despite fish prices, despite all that, good operators will always rise above. And I was told that in my first few months of being in this industry, and it still holds true. You will find a way to ride it out. You will find a way. You think outside the box, you'll find a way. And good operators, because people will continue to use you. You keep your consistency. Good operators will rise to the top, and they'll keep going. Yeah, all right. We've got to take less. We take less of a profit margin. We've got to ride it out. But it's not going to go skint. No,
absolutely. And so, what's next for you? Any more skydives? Are you?
No, but I am having a helicopter ride. That was my next one. So I'm having a helicopter. Now, some people will say that's not very, but some people are scared, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've always wanted to go in a helicopter. So my next one is a helicopter. But besides that, and besides my road trip, and obviously I've got my birthday trip in London. Oh, don't forget KFE Ball. Can't wait for that, because I've not been for years.
Yes, me neither. Yes, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, I can't wait for that, because my sister and my brother-in-law are coming, because they're brilliant golfers.
Lovely.
So I'm trying to get Pier Point to win the golf by default, and I'm just driving the buggy. because I can't play golf, but I can drive a buggy and pour out shots of alcohol.
I was going to say that sounds like a job you've done before.
I haven't, but I'm quite happy to take it on. And at 4:00, I've got a facial, so
there you go. You say it's exactly how it should be. Well, Lorraine, thanks so much.
But in terms of business, no, we are always on the lookout. I always scout different places and think, oh, that's a good location, that would work. But I think basically Pier Point's enough for now.
Yeah.
And I think it's it would be a mistake for me, I ain't getting no younger, to try and, because it's happened a few times, so I don't want to try and complicate my life anymore. Let's keep things nice and simple. So for now, but famous last words.
I was going to say we'll be having a different conversation in a few weeks' time at the ball.
I know. Yes, maybe.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate your time today. And as always, it's always a laugh speaking to you. It's so lovely. And it's just nice to have a catch up, really. I think that's what today's podcast has been about. So thanks
Kelly. And I'm ever so sorry that I've been wittering on everybody that when you listen.
It's nice to have a chat and find out a bit more about you. That's for sure. So thank you very much.
And that's a wrap on today's episode with Kelly and Lorraine. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What stood out to you in this conversation? Join the Ceres podcast discussion group on Facebook and keep the conversation going. At Ceres, we're all about supporting your business, whether it's with top quality products or valuable insights. If there's something on your mind, reach out to us, because we'd absolutely love to hear from you. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.